What's up, everybody? Brian Ronovich with LasVegasWrestlingScene.com, and welcome to News and Notes. I want to talk about Friday night's FSW Ground Zero Ice Age. Main event was Bodie Young Prodigy, biggest match of his career as he faced the Ultimate Finesser Chris Bey, former FSW Heavyweight Champion and current FSW Mecca Grand Champion, as well as APW Junior Heavyweight Champion, among others. We'll get to that matchup in a minute. There were plenty of intrigue going into this show. Jai Vidal going to the FSW Wall of Fame. TBD facing the Wolf Zaddies as Bad Dude Tito and Che Cabrera returned to the fight capital for the first time in FSW since facing 1% against all odds in November. Couldn't remember for a second there. So it was interesting to see those guys come back and once again against former FSW Tag Team Champions. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, when they wrestled 1% that time, that was 1%'s first match back after losing the tag titles to Graves and Hammerstone at the anniversary. I could be wrong about that. That's just off the top of my head. But anyway, also, to kick the show off was the Future Shock Battle Royal. It was on the pre-show, actually, where the winner was going to face Nevada State champion Greg Sharp for the blue belt later on in the show. Well, everybody's favorite wrestler, Jimmy Jack, made his return to the FSW Arena, and he did it in style. He won the Future Shock Battle Royal. He eliminated Arizona's Eldon Finau to win the match and advance to the Nevada State title matchup against G-Sharp. Now, a match against G-Sharp, like I said in my preview, isn't really a reward, which really was stealing what Hammerstone said about the Against All Odds Rumble. I believe it was last year. Wrestling G-Sharp is certainly not a reward. So Jimmy Jack celebrated his Battle Royal victory, but he came up short against G-Sharp. But credit to him. I mean, he was coming back from a rib injury, wrestled twice in his return, so he certainly didn't stick his toes in the water. He jumped all the way in, and Jack looked fine. I mean, he did a good job. It was a tough match, but boy, is this kid over. The FSW fans love him. I think he's just a blast to watch. He comes out fired up. He's still learning things in the ring. There's no question about that. But as far as understanding who he is right now as a wrestler, Jimmy Jack definitely does, and the fans love him for it. So it was a really good night for Jimmy Jack regardless. Win or lose, an opportunity to wrestle G-Sharp for the belt is still good. Also, so following that was our celebration, the Lights Camera Faction celebration. Fresco-Mattic cut a blistering promo. His promos are getting really, really good. I talked about that on the website a couple weeks ago before their match against TBD, Watson included. But they came out, did their thing. They have a lot to be happy about. As Braxton started going on, Xander interrupted him, so we ended up getting Nick Xander and Action Braxton. I certainly think from what we've seen, Xander's had plenty of follow-up. He had the match stolen from him. Ice Williams was actually supposed to leave the area. Xander got into a scrap with Ice Williams, trying to kind of fighting over the belt, it looked like, and Ice threw the belt in the air or kind of swung the belt over his shoulder like this and hit Xander. KO. Braxton pins him, gets the win. They celebrate. But Xander followed this up with some social media posts that weren't very kind to the faction. So it doesn't look like that's over yet. And I think that could be a really good feud. I hope there's more to it. Xander against any of those four would be good. And maybe Xander's going to take his crack at the FSW heavyweight title. I originally said Xander going after the No Limits, but maybe if Braxton gets to know whatever happens there, maybe Xander goes that direction. But I think there's some good things and cool things to look at with a Xander faction feud. 1 versus 4, like Xander said in one of his social media posts too, that there's strength in numbers with LCF, and he's going to definitely need some people to help him out, potentially, at least to watch his back, because he's going to always be dealing with all of them in most situations. So, but good stuff there. The match was pretty good with him and Braxton. Like we said, it ended with some Ice Williams hitting him with the belt. Two guys from Arizona, Kevin Koa and Devin Reno, picked up wins. Koa was thoroughly one-sided as he took out the main attraction, Chase Bell. He looked great. Was out by himself, I don't believe. No MK Bandit. But he was dominant. Koa is certainly ready for to take the next step up in competition. I think there's some guys I'd like to see him against Damian Drake. That's kind of a name I was thinking about. I think those two would be difference in styles. Would probably be certainly Drake is a huge step up for Koa, but I think something that would definitely be appealing. Devin Reno, without class at ringside, defeated Jordan Cruz by putting his feet on the second rope, gaining the leverage and getting the pin. It looked like Cruz was going in for the W. Cruz is still fighting to get those wins. But it certainly feels like there's more to this Devin Reno, Jordan Cruz thing and whatever Class's involvement is. But it was a pretty good match. We like both guys. I think both guys are very talented. Devin Reno was a rookie last year. Cruz has several years, has quite a few years, I'd say, in the game at this point. But both of them are tremendous prospects here in Las Vegas and in their home base, LA and Arizona, respectively. But I think that I like what Arizona does. There's so many good wrestlers that have come in from specifically Arizona now. I kind of got off track there, but there's some really good talent in Arizona, and Reno's one of them. Devin Reno, Gris Brody, Kevin Koa, John Wolfgang, although he hasn't been here as much, Flyboy Freddy. Mr. Classic, another guy. He's a guy that I thought was going to have more reps in Vegas, but it's been fairly sporadic. But Arizona is a tremendous area for talent. And speaking of talent, I wasn't going to talk about this, but even in the level up guys, where Jordan Cruz is, J2 Matoli, he's had a couple matches in FSW, but a lot of his stuff has been with Versus. He'll be back. I think he's here Sunday. And every time I've seen J2, he's put together some good matches. We've seen other guys from Level Up in San Diego come out here and do good work. So when you look at the training there, those schools are providing to FSW. It's always good to see. I'm always a big fan of prospects. I love the schools. I love to pay attention to the schools. And then when you see top prospects from each school get a chance to face off, it's always good. Hopefully there's more. I really want to see Jordan Cruz get a chance to have a good run with somebody. I think a feud with Reno and Class would be real good. Who knows? Maybe something's going to be, maybe somehow Jordan Cruz decides to join forces with those guys. Could be interesting there, right? Well, the Wolf Zaddies took out another FSW tag team, former FSW tag team champion, defeating TBD. Nothing crazy this time. Hero didn't spear Shogun or anything like that, but the Zaddies did get the victory. Tito pinned Hero to get the victory. And the Zaddies, I would really like to see them get a title shot. I think there were plans for Tito until he got sick a couple of years ago. I'm not positive that they would have involved the Zaddies, but I think they would have. I mean, they'd been here before as the Pistoleros, so there's definitely a relationship with FSW from before. I don't know if FSW wants to do Zaddies and LCF. They're both heels, but I would love to see the Zaddies be more consistent here in Las Vegas. There's other teams they could wrestle here in town. But TBD, it kind of feels to me like they're heading for a split. Maybe they cool things off and they work it out. But both guys, to me, right when they came together as a team, were gaining a bit. Even though Shogun had the tag titles, he was working some really good singles matches. And it was as if both guys kind of had some steam going in singles. And I'd like to see what they could do potentially on a singles run. So even if we don't get any more TBD at some point, it'll be good to see what Shogun and Hero can do from the single side of things. The main event, Chris Bey, Bodie Young Prodigy, was a really good match. Bey got the win. Chris Bey is so talented. I mean, as good as Bodie is, and this is no knock on him. I mean, Bodie's 15. Bodie is just phenomenally talented at such a young age. But Chris Bey is just, when you watch him wrestle, the stuff he does is just effortless. You see why companies love him. You see why he signed with Impact, why he's gone to New Japan, why he's in the Bullet Club. It just makes sense. Congratulations to him for everything he's done. He had a real nice message for Bodie and the fans afterwards, but I'm not going to go into that. And he will be back. He just had a match announced for the Impact show February 24th. He's in a 6-man. He'll be with Ace Austin and for No Surrender. So good things for Chris Bey. It's always great to see him in the Fight Capital. Always great to see him in Bey's house, which is the FSW Arena. But overall, it was a good show. It really was. It was a fun show. The fans were into it the whole time. The biggest story out of it, though, I think, was Jai Vidal. We learned who the masked person was that pushed Matt Vandegrift off the top turnbuckle. It was Jai Vidal. Jai Vidal had his banner raised to the roof, they dropped the curtain on it, and he was excited after a very emotional speech. Matt Vandegrift came out to participate and tell him how much he means and this and that. And then Danny Limelight popped on. I talked about this a couple days ago here on News and Notes. Danny Limelight popped out again with the same video and mentioned a partner. Well, it definitely wasn't Slice Boogie. It was Jai Vidal. So Jai Vidal then, of course, went after Vandegrift and said, well, you're the reason I had to leave FSW. So apparently it was a revenge thing. Is there going to be more Jay Matt? Maybe more Danny Limelight and Matt Vandegrift. A 5th match between Jay and Vanda could certainly be in the offing. You'd think Vandegrift would want it, but I'm sure he would like a rematch with Limelight too. Either one of them are exciting. So that was how it ended, and it's really interesting because people that like Jay cheered him. I mean, this was a total heel move, and everybody was cheering him. So it's hard to say, he turned his back on any of the fans because the fans were happy to see him. So we'll see what goes forward from there. And we're hearing March 4th is going to be the return for FSW. Haven't seen anything for February yet. Thought they would book something around GCW or Impact, but no official word as of this point. But have a great day. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and take care.